morning, Cycle for Lifers. It is late in September 2019. It's a Sunday morning, a beautiful God-given Sunday morning. Yesterday I competed in the Watermans Olympic Triathlon in Rock Hall, Maryland. And this video is about a race report, what happened out there at the race, and the cold water. The coldness of that water makes it hard to breathe when you first jump in. So here's my race report. The swim was 0.9 miles. It was metric 1,500 meters, which is just shy of a mile. So I jumped in, and I was in the water for, I don't know, 45 seconds, a minute, treading, waiting for the wave to start. And I thought, okay, I'll acclimate to how cold the water is in about a minute, and I'll be okay. Well, not so. Not so at all. So I'm in a swimsuit, but I'm still freezing when I get in this water. And it was like 72, 73 degrees. It wasn't even really that cold. But it felt cold because I've been training in an indoor pool, you know. And when I put my face down in that water and couldn't see anything, I didn't think it was going to bother me. I mentally told myself I was prepared for that, but I wasn't. When I put my face in that water and tried to swim, as cold as it was and I couldn't see, I couldn't get air. And guys, I've swam a mile many times in a pool. You know, I know how to swim in a pool. But out there, it's different. You have to do some open water training if you're going to successfully, you know, do open water triathlons. And I didn't do that. I just trained in a pool and thought I'd be okay. I cognitively knew I wouldn't be able to see anything. And I cognitively knew I'd have some waves. And I cognitively knew I'd feel a little colder. But the feeling doesn't equate. You can know it in your skull, but if you haven't felt it in your body, your brain's going to react, I'm telling you. I actually hyperventilated in the first 100 yards of the swim before I got to the first corner where you turn. And that excess of panicked oxygen or lack of oxygen, whichever way you want to call hyperventilation, depending how you look at it, I couldn't breathe on a proper cycle. So I rolled back and did some backstroke. And then I felt the waves. When I was looking up at the sky, I felt the waves. When I turned my face in the water, I didn't feel the waves anymore, because all I felt then was I can't see anything. So doing a backstroke made me sick, motion sick, seasick, like the kind of sick you need to take Dramamine for. I couldn't get any relief. If I stopped to float or do backstrokes, I got dizzy with motion sickness. And if I turned my face in the water to swim and go forward, I hyperventilated. So I just fought through that for the first, probably, I'm going to say 300 yards. It was horrible. It was a miserable experience. I literally thought, okay, I've got into something I don't understand here. I'm going to put my hands up, get in the boat, and I'm done. I was literally this close to quitting. And then I just calmed down, doggy paddled. Okay, laugh at me, put the comments in there, I don't care what you do. Doggy paddled and got my breath, and I thought, okay, you can't see, you're going to feel the waves, put your face in the water and swim and get this done. And so I did, and I was the slowest swim in the group, but I got it done. It was 1,500 meters, 0.9 miles or whatever. So then comes the bike. I've bike distance 30 miles many times. I've done 10 or 12 30-mile rides in the last few months. I did a 50-mile ride a few weeks ago. So I've been cycling 30 to 50 miles at a shot multiple times. No problem. But getting on the bike right after that swim, the triathletes call that doing a brick workout, where you leave one exercise and go straight into the other. I hadn't done that, but still I'm a relatively, I'm not going to say strong cyclist as far as speed goes, but I'm a strong cyclist in so much as I can do it. Within a mile of being on the bike, I felt good. I felt real good. All that emotion and hyperventilation and out of breathness that happened from the swim was behind me. I totally recovered, my body readjusted, and after about a mile on the bike, I was ready to start hunting. And I did. I passed probably, I don't know, 6 people, 7 people in the first half of the bike, and I passed another 3 or 4 at the end of the bike where they just overdid it in the beginning and cooked themselves and couldn't finish the bike strong. Now, what I did notice, I used the anti-chafing creams that M3 Performance in Vienna, Virginia recommended, and the anti-chafing products worked great. So I didn't have any of that kind of discomfort like I've had in other 30 and 50 mile bike training rides. What I did feel towards the end of the race was only 25 miles. The race was shorter than my training miles. You always want to over distance your training a little bit. But at the end of the 25 miles, around the 22nd or 23rd mile, I started feeling arm problems. I couldn't really stay in the aerodynamic position on the tri-bars. My shoulders and the outer sections of my upper arms were really getting fatigued. So I'd move my hands up on the wings and bend over, and that would accentuate pain and pressure on the proboscis bones, or whatever they call those bones in your butt that sit on the seat, the 2 sit bones. So I couldn't get relief at the end of the bicycle. You know, it was painful. I was cycling okay. I did all right. If you guys want to know my speed, it was a 16 mile per hour average, which is nothing to you triathletes. You triathletes watching this video, I mean, those guys are going 24, 23, 26 miles an hour, depending on how long the races are. It was beautiful. And we had a loop system where I could see the sprinters and the half Ironman people lapping me at different parts of the course, because we shared the course and they started ahead of me, or maybe the sprinter started behind me. I don't know exactly how it all worked out, but it was a beautiful thing to see some of those really fit guys and gals go by. I'm telling you, a couple of these guys went by that just absolutely looked beautiful. They're just strong and fit with disc wheels on, heads down, aero position, just getting it. I mean, it was gorgeous to watch. It's amazing to me to see what a professional can do when they're in their element. It's the way I feel when I'm road racing a motorcycle. Knee down, in the corner, grabbing gears. That's my zone, you know. And I was blessed to see these guys when these guys were in their zone. Beautiful thing. But so I did 16 miles an hour. It was discomforting at the end. I had to move my hands around on the bars and move my butt around on the seat to finish that, but I got through it. And then I started the run, and I was smart enough to walk transition, and my plan was to just start in a walk and catch my breath off the bike and calm down, get my emotions in check, get back to a completely, strictly low heart rate aerobic situation, and then gently start a jog and finish with that jog without ever having to stop and walk. I didn't mind starting the run with a walk, but I wanted to, once I started running, keep running to the end. And I failed to do that. I started in a walk, followed my plan. I was very mature, proud of myself for doing what I said I was going to do. Walk through transition, put my Vibrams 5 fingers on. I have to run in 5-finger shoes because of knee injuries. That's another video for another day. But I have to run forfeit or I hurt my knees. And the flat 5 fingers, 0 padding shoes help me do that. So I walked, caught my breath, went aerobic, got my heart rate down, and then I started a light jog. And I went maybe a half mile, and it was a 6.2 mile run, a 10K. So I got a mile into it, half mile into it, 3/4 mile, somewhere in there. And my left lower quad, right above the knee, started to cramp. And I ran through it for a little while. I thought, it'll be okay. It's just talking to me. And I talked back. I was like, thank you for letting me know. You know, have a nice day. Keep going. But it persisted. It persisted into a limp. And I thought, well, I've got to stop and walk this out or I'm not going to finish. So I walked for a 1/4 mile. And really wonderful gal, competitor out there, had salt tablets with her and offered me some salt tablets, but I knew an aid station was coming, so I just ate a couple bananas real quick, or pieces of banana, and I walked until the cramp went away, and then I was able to continue running, but I couldn't run the whole the rest of the 6 miles, which would have been 4.5 or 5 at this point. I couldn't continue to run that whole distance. I did this thing where I'd run, a quarter mile, walk 50 yards, run a quarter mile, walk 50 yards, run a quarter mile, walk 50 yards, whatever it was. I didn't have measurements out there. I wasn't pacing it off. It's just what it felt like, I'd run 4 or 5 minutes, 3.5 minutes, and then walk a little bit. And I did that to finish. And it wasn't my plan. My plan was to start the run and a walk, stay calm, and then gently ramp it up to a comfortable pace and finish. But I was not able to do that. My body was not prepared for that. I haven't sufficiently trained at these distances and done enough brick training to allow my body to successfully complete that plan. So what's the moral of the story? I did finish. Got my finisher medal. Very proud of that. I know a lot of you triathletes poo-poo these finisher medals because it's all about PRs for you guys. Well, when it's your first Olympic, that is a PR, right? So my PR for Olympics is a slow 3 hour and 49 minutes. That's what it took me to walk it in at the end. That was the total time. The guy that won the Clydesdale class did it in 3 hours and 5 or 10 minutes, whatever he did it in, I forget. And I goofed up, didn't sign up in Clydesdale. I signed up in regular, which didn't matter. I knew I was going to be at the back of the pack either way, so I didn't bother to change my registration. I didn't care. I just wanted to finish, and I did finish, and I'm proud of that. But